How's this for a flat out statement? Sport is more than a pastime. It is a proven pathway to economic empowerment. Now, apply that to women. Here to help us understand the connection is Julie Savard-Shaw. She is executive director of the Prosperity Project. She and Sylvia Gonzalez Zamora of KPMG Canada wrote an op-ed in the Gazette last week saying that women should be encouraged to take up sport when they're young and to continue through their careers. Why? Because it's good for them economically, and therefore it is good for Canada. Julie Savard-Shaw, thank you for joining us on CJAD 800.
That's a great opening statement.
Well, I drew it directly from your op-ed, so there you go. We're talking here not about women competing at elite levels, although we are seeing more and more recognition of the accomplishment of women at elite levels. We have a professional women's hockey league that gets a lot of coverage now, and so on. But we're talking about girls and women who are, I guess, community athletes. That's the way I would think of them. How do you think of this?
Yeah, agreed. And I think what's important to keep in mind is that, athletes can take many forms. It's, yes, of course, the Olympians, but it's the women and the girls that play every day, whether that's team sports or individual sports or just regular physical activity.
And how does it translate, having exposure and participation in sports when young and then through the career? How does that translate into a better chance of career success and prosperity?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I think has been made clear through various research is that there is an impact in terms of the traits that are developed through sports. So we're talking here about mental stamina, energy, ability to work well with a team. But what this research really looked at was the impact of continued sports while women are currently in their career. And what we found was that those traits also enabled executive presence. And as we know, there are fewer women in positions of leadership. And one of the reasons, if you will, that many women state they perhaps don't put their hands up for leadership positions is this the inherent bias against women, right? And so executive presence is really important when you're getting up to that level.
Does it matter? Does the research show whether it matters what sport? Do you I associate the upper echelons with golf, but does it matter? Does it matter if it's golf? Does it matter if it's tennis? Does it matter if it's any other sport?
Well, our research doesn't look at the sport itself. So in fact, when we say sports, for the research, that encompasses both team, individual sports, as well as physical activity. So, for example, even as long as you are consistently going for runs or consistently doing high-intensity interval training, we would count that as sports in the context of this research. But certainly, you raise golf. That's a perfect example of the kind of gendered lens that is often applied when companies think about how they can encourage their executives to play sports. So instead of thinking about golf, maybe we could encourage companies to offer a health spending account where women can pursue what they like and then encourage others to do the same.
Talk about some other measures that you feel could play into this, that first of all can show women and girls the advantages of taking up sport and keeping it in their lives as they proceed through their education and their careers, and also show to communities and business the value.
Yes, for me, the main finding that is directly related to companies, to the economy, and frankly, to what women should aspire or could aspire to become, is that with senior executive women that we surveyed were more likely to currently be participating in sports than middle management. So what that tells us is that someone who continues to participate in sport is more likely to go up the leadership ladder. I mean, I understand middle management, oftentimes it's that what we call the crunch period of someone's life. Oftentimes it aligns with women has childcare responsibility, now more and more parent elderly care, and you have all of the responsibilities that align with being a manager. But what this research really shows us is that if you also prioritize not necessarily competing, but participating in sports, and if companies also prioritize ensuring that their managers have access to sports, whether that's financially or by making time for them to do so, there is a good chance that these women will go up the leadership ladder. And we know that when there are more women in positions of leadership, it is better for the bottom line of the company, and it's better for Canada's economy.
It does seem to me that there is a role for local government to play here, because a lot of people find the most accessible, i.e. the cheapest and most convenient because it's close to you, options are offered by municipalities. It's your city making available gym time for pickup basketball games open to anybody, or providing yoga studio space, or at an affordable price. Is there not a role for government here somewhere?
Absolutely. You raise a really good point. Communities have access to, of course, the community centers, but as our op-ed also points, the federal government, through its Secretary of State for Sports, said that 2026 was the year of sport. I think there's also a role for the federal government to play in ensuring that municipalities have access to that funding to be able to build perhaps new community center, refurbish existing ones. I think if we want to see a blossoming economy in Canada, it's going to take everyone working together.
And on that note, I will say thank you, Julie Savard-Shaw. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Julie Savard-Shaw is the executive director of the Prosperity Project, and that is a Canadian charity dedicated to advancing women's economic participation and leadership.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.